Hey, this is Ben with Harvest Profit. Today we're going to look at how to enter Prevent Plant into your account. We're going to do it by using the Scenarios tool, and this way we can create a scenario, make some changes. Obviously, when we're evaluating PP, sometimes beforehand we're not really sure if it's going to be the actual scenario that takes place. So we're going to kind of use a combination of the way we enter our Prevent Plant. It's kind of unique. And then we're going to use that in combination with scenarios and then the analysis tool to really pull this all together into a complete analysis of um, evaluating PP and using your harvest profit account to make those decisions. So the first thing we want to start out with, we want to make sure that Prevent Plant is set to a crop in your account. So we're going to go to settings found at the bottom of the page here. And first thing is crop settings. And we just want to make sure we have Prevent Plant. If you don't have Prevent Plant, you'll type it in this box here. We'll just add it again. Type it in, press enter, add crop, and we're going to change the price, the budget price, to $1 per unit. So I'm just going to delete this here since I already have this entered in here. So we're good to go. Now the next thing I want to do is, actually I'll show you my profit and loss currently. We are sitting at on this account, this is a test account, we're sitting at 21,000 positive, and we already have some Prevent Plant acres in here. I'm going to show you how to add more, and we're going to start off by creating a scenario. So I'm going to go click on default, add scenario, name the scenario. We're going to name it 2020 PP planning. And it's set a color. When all these checked, create scenario. Just a disclaimer, this is a test account. None of the numbers I'm using, yields, prices, expenses, should be thought as being realistic. They're close to match a north central North Dakota area, but they're obviously there's not enough costs kind of entered in here, so you'll see pretty low break evens. And I just wanted to make that disclaimer before we got started. We'll just wait for this to copy over, and that's when we'll start working on creating Prevent Plant crops. So we are in our PP scenario. You can see it's blue on the left side. That just indicates we're in a scenario, so you don't accidentally edit your default. And what I want to do then is go to first thing is we're going to kind of identify on my account what fields we want to switch. I'm going to switch some corn acres over to Prevent Plant. And I'm just going to go to the crop planner to see which fields I want to switch. And I think it's this, yeah, the south quarter is what we're going to switch for this scenario. We're going to switch it from corn to PP. And there's a couple things I want to point out. If we go to our applications page, you look at south quarter, we already have 3 applications here. These applications are tied to the corn crop. Obviously, if we PP, we want these gone. So either we can delete them there, or the quick way of doing it is on the crop planner tab, go to south quarter and click delete. I don't think you have to save here, but we'll just save here just to make sure that those applications are gone. We're going to add a crop back to that field. It's going to be Prevent Plant. Select the entity that it was and save. So now if we go back to our applications page, you will see that the south quarter of Prevent Plant has 0 applications. It also has a 0 yield, and this is where this comes into play. We set that $1 budget price. Now, what this means then is whatever we enter the yield is going to be, to calculate revenue, the program is going to take yield times budget price. So when budget price is $1 per unit, we want the yield to equal your payment per acre payment. So in this case, we want to enter a yield of, I should figure this out quick to have a realistic number, but we'll just put 300 per acre in here. And that is going to be our payment per acre on the Prevent Plant. So we're going to save this application, and just like that, we'll go back to our P&L, and we'll see that we've increased our profit and loss. So now what's nice about having this in a scenario is that we can compare this to our default. So we've added Prevent Plant acres. How did that change our profitability? If we were just doing this all in the default, you would have had to remember this number. But since we created a scenario, we have the option to use the analysis tool. So I'm going to come in, still in the P&L, I'm going to go to the top tabs, click on analysis, and the left side, I'm going to pull up my 2020 all entities default scenario. And then scenario 2 is going to be 2020 all entities 2020 PP scenario. And we're going to wait for this build out. It's done. And now we can look at each individual category and see how our profitability has changed before and after adding prevent plant acres. So we can switch it from totals to per acre, and we can look at where did we reduce seed or reduce costs. So obviously our seed, chemical, those expenses went down. There's one thing I didn't set up correctly. As you can see, is crop insurance pricing went down, and I'll show you quickly why that happened. Or excuse me, we want to go to inputs, and our crop insurance down here is that since I switched corn to, let's see how I have this set up. I have corn crop insurance only set to corn acres. I'm going to add prevent plant here. I'm going to save this, and then we're going to go back to our profit and loss, and we're going to redo that analysis to make sure that we are running this correctly. Because if you take PP, you're still paying that insurance premium. We don't want that number to decrease at all. So we're going to go back to per acre, and we're going to come crop insurance. Crop insurance price didn't change, so that was good. But you can see now seed, fertilizer, those, and chemical prices went down. Where else did we lose? Fuel went down because there's no longer a crop associated to that field that's using fuel per acre. So you can see the differences we're looking at, and you can see a total profit and loss difference of $2.26 per acre difference. Obviously that seems small, but that's only we're looking at moving 140 acres. So what's nice about this tool, it's really easy using these features, it's really easy to evaluate different options. At the end of the day, if you don't like what the option looked like, come back up here and we go back to default, and we don't have to worry about messing our default P&L up, because we come back to our default and I'm back to where I was at originally. We didn't change anything. And if it ever becomes that this 2020 PP planning scenario becomes what actually happened, you can always go into your settings. Excuse me. Yep, we're in the settings, and we're going to go to scenarios. I can set my 2020 PP planning as my default scenario. It looks like we're just loading here. So that's how to set up PP into your account. So there we go. You can see my 2020 PP planning is now my default. So when I come back here, I have 0 colors, meaning I'm in my default, and you can see it's the 2020 PP scenario, which has 240 acres of PP. So that's how you evaluate your PP. One last thing I want to point out is you can see we have prevent plant now in our crop summary. You'll see a break-even price. The break-even price doesn't mean a whole lot because since our average cash price is set at $1 per unit, the cash price will never change. So what the break-even means, if it's below $1 per acre, we are making money on our PP acres. So you can see we're making $125 per acre. If our break-even was above $1, we'd be losing money on the PP acres. Just something to look at. Also, if you have any expenses you want to apply to your PP acres, you can always go into inputs. We can add a chemical. Looks like I have a 2,4-D in here. Maybe it's gramoxone. Maybe, some sort of burn down you're spraying on your prevent plant acres. Since this is assigned to all crops, we can come into our applications, pull up this prevent plant field. We're just going to add a quick application. It's going to be chemical, 2,4-D. Probably go to ounces, and I don't say 32 ounces per acre. Actually, I think this is a product is closer to 60 ounces per acre, depending on what it is. And just like that, we've added a expense to our PP acres. That expense will carry through, and now I think I saved that, so we should be able to see a chemical cost on our prevent plant acres. So you're managing it as another crop. We're recording the revenue correctly and all the expenses that are staying there. So like your land costs are still associated with it. If you have any questions about how to set this up, how to do an analysis, how to do scenarios, or anything about your Harvest Profit account, just reach out to support. You can email us, support@harvestprofit.com, or set up a phone call. Go to harvestprofit.com/call and set up a time that you want us to give you a call, and we can go over your account with you. Thanks for watching. Make sure if you have any questions, you reach out to us.